Hello. Hi, good evening, all of you. Hi, Rama. How are you all? I hope you had a great weekend. Hi, Shabda. Hi, Karan. Everyone. So, I'm sorry, guys. Yesterday, I just had to delay the session at the very last moment. So, just give me 1 second. I'll just start the stuff. Okay. So, in the last class, what we were doing was we had seen on how do we import the data, right? So that is what we had done. But we were seeing that how we had loaded the data from one of the CSV files, and then we were exploring that how we can fetch the desired data, right? How we can do the slicing and dicing of the data and fetch what we need, basically that the customer's data that we were using, right? So we'll start from there only. Okay, so what I can do is, so we'll take up the things ahead from there. So just let me share my screen. Okay, so so again, like, since we have opened it up, so first of all, let's import our libraries, right? Import NumPy as NP. We'll import pandas as PD. So this, let's start with that. Then, so now today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start out with some little part over here, and that we will discuss on how do we, treat or we drop the missing data, right? How do we drop the missing data? So now missing data, right? The thing that I'm going to talk about over here is right now just that I would just like to give you a little bit of a glimpse. See, when we will be starting off with the portion of the predictive modeling, right, or doing the statisticals, creating data models using the Python, right, like linear regression, logistic regression, etc. So what happens over there is whenever we do the predictive modeling, In predictive modeling, there is a very important part that is called as EDA, which stands for exploratory data analysis. Okay. So what do I mean by exploratory data analysis is that whenever, so basically I'll be giving you that. So this is not just related to the predictive modeling. This is not related to anything, right? Any data set that you get. So what we do is we do basically, if you would have seen that up till now also, we have learned about EDA only. EDA means exploring the data, right? The data that you have, you try to explore the data. So how do you explore the data? You explore the data with the help of visualizations, right? You try to do some visualizations like you will do a univariate analysis. Univariate analysis means where what we do is we pick each variable once and we try to analyze is that what that variable is telling us, right? What that variable is telling us, that is something that is called as a univariate analysis, right? Like, you know, the charts that we created, like in the Tableau, right? So we get a chart like histogram. Now that's a univariate analysis. We get a chart box plot, right? That's a univariate analysis. You create a chart bar plot, bar chart, right? That's a univariate analysis. Similarly, we do some bivariate analysis. When we talk of bivariate analysis, in bi means two, right? So what we do is we pick two variables at a time, right? For example, we did a scatter plot. Now in that we have to use two variables. You create stacked bar chart, right? That again needs two variables. So what we do is we explore the data to understand what data is telling us, and then only we can come to a part that how or what we are going to predict on that data set that we have. Now, the one very important part of EDA is also this, that is the missing data treatment. Missing data. So what happens is, like, whenever you will receive some data sets, many a times it happens that, you know, the data set will have some missing values. So what we do is that missing values that you get in your data set, we have to treat the missing data. Okay, right? Like if I give you some data set, for example, that bank customers data only, let me open that up. Right now, let's just take the example of the UK bank customers only. So now sometimes what it happen is that when you have the data set at certain places, you might find that the data is missing, right? Like for example, some data is missing over here, some data is missing over here, some data is missing over here. So what happens is if you have a data like this where you have some missing values at certain places, we do not use that data right away. We will not start using that data right for any of our analysis right away. We have to treat these missing values. And how do we treat the missing values is the first way of treating the missing data is you can drop the data where the values are missing. Okay, like for example, if there is some data that is missing over here, I'll remove this row. That I will say I don't need this row. Let's delete it. Over here also there is a missing data. I'll delete this row. So this way, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get rid of my missing data in this case, right? Like over here, I'll delete it. Over here, I'll delete it. Now this is the easiest and the quickest way of treating your missing data that you may have in your data set. But that has a limitation. That has a challenge. If you have lots of missing values, you can actually end up losing a big chunk of your data, right? If there are at multiple places there were some missing values, so it might happen that you will lose 30-40% of your data itself. And if you lose that data, that is something really bad because you are losing the data which you could have used for some analysis purpose. So another way what we do is, in order to treat the missing values, we replace the missing data with average, right? What we do is we find the average. Like for example, if I was deleting the missing values over here, instead of deleting that, what we do is I find the average age. I will find the average age. So average age comes out to be as 38. So wherever age is missing, I will replace it with 38. Same way, I will find the balance. Wherever the balance is missing, I will replace it with the average balance. And same way, if suppose the region is missing, right? Like for example, region is missing over here. Now in the region column, I cannot find the mean. I cannot find the average. So what we do in that case is we find the region that is coming the most number of times, right? If we have 3 or 4 regions, I will say, okay, how many times we had England, how many times do we have Northern Ireland or Wales or Scotland. So we count those regions, and then what we do is we replace the highest or the most occurring region with the region over there. So that is how we treat the missing values, right? So depending upon the data, what that requirement is, like if there are very few values that have missing data, you can delete the data, or else you can replace it with the mean or the median also. Sometimes you also replace it with median. Okay. So now what we are going to do over here is, although we are not going to jump onto that, the basically the treatment over here, I'm just going to tell you about a couple of ways that how you can remove the missing values in the Python using the pandas library now. So first of all, I'll make a small data frame to understand this. I make df equal to pd dot data frame. So you can all please make this with me. I'll also share this code. So we'll make a data frame over here. Let's make it with the help of a dictionary, right? Or right, we can make it with a dictionary. So a, and in this we are going to keep the values as right. So I am using nan. Nan is like the null value, right? Like in SQL, we have null value. If you want to have some null values in the pandas, you can use NumPy library to generate some null values. You just say np.nan. That means you are creating a null value that you are making a data frame. This is a dictionary in which key is A, and in the list I am giving 1, 2, and 1 null value, which is a missing value that I'm adding over here. Okay. So if you want to add a null value, we have np.nan. This is a function, numpy function, null. Okay, then what we will do is we can add another value in this, that is b, and in the b we will keep the values as suppose, let's keep 5 comma null values np.nan comma np.nan. So I'm creating the null values, and last it's phc also, right? So we can have 1, 2, 3. Data frame. Okay, so this is done. So please make this. I'll just share this over the chat as well.
Hey, Amin.
Uh-huh.
So, you were talking about drop, right? So maybe later you can also tell us how to undo it if in case by mistake we're dropping, and how to find out if how many missing values are there in a column.
We'll be doing that as well. So see, in coding, you will never have undo. So any coding skills that you will have, like whether R, Python, or any other language, because everything happens with the help of a code over there, right? So once you execute a code, so you cannot undo that. So you have to come back and re-execute the code from the start, right? So
Like
undo is something you will find only in the basically in the graphical user interface, the stuff, or maybe where you have to do some complete, that committing changes into the code. But in R Python, you will not find that undo.
okay, so every code which we are going to pass, it's going to be affecting the data frame, and
Correct. So deleted it once, is not
permanently it will be affecting the data frame.
right.
Okay, so then if in case, So then before we want to remove any missing values, we would want to at least know how many are there, right?
We will be doing that.
Okay.
So that we will be doing it. So that's a different part. Basically, what we do is when we will work with the data, bigger data sets over there, that is how we do it. First, we find that in each column, how many missing values do I have? And then we replace it and treat it.
Okay.
So you're right in that case. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
So now if you have to drop the missing value, so what we do is we have a function that is drop NA. So if you say df dot drop NA, now this is a function that we have which we use to drop the missing values. So if you see right now, okay, just so this is a data frame that I have created with this small intention that you see right now. These are rows, 3 rows. I have 3 rows with me over here, right? 1, 2, and 3, and 3 columns. So there is one row which doesn't have any missing value. There is one column which doesn't have any missing value, right? If remember when we were talking about previously in that data frames only that if you have to add a column or drop a column, so how do we talked about something called x's. X is equal to 0 and 1, that if you want to add or delete, so 0 meant row and 1 means column. I hope you remember that part.
Yes.
Right? So the same concept applies over here. Now in this df dot drop NA, if you run this command, what this is going to do is, see, whenever you have missing values, you cannot just delete one value. You will be deleting a complete row or a complete column. That is how we work on it. So complete row or a complete column gets deleted if you have any missing value. If you're talking about deleting that data. So if you say df, right, this data frame that I have created, from this I want to drop the NAs. So by default, x is equal to 0. That means it is going to delete those rows which have some missing values in it, right? Like in this case, 1 and 2 will be deleted. So if I run this command, you will now see 1 and 2 has been deleted. Now, do you think this data would have been permanently deleted? Check this. You see, this data is not permanently deleted. So how can I make sure that the data gets permanently deleted?
Just running on the whole data frame. No.
So remember we use one command, in place equal to true, in place equal to false.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. In place equal to true. We
Right?
have in place equal to true.
So when you say in place equal to true, so that is how you replace it, delete it permanently. So we have to use in place command. Now all of you please try dropping the data, drop the missing data by column. And just someone is at the door, just give me 1 second. Okay, so right, Radhika, so x is equal to 1, correct? So this is that you have done it. Perfect. So now similarly, like when you play with this dropping the data, what you can do is you can actually what you can do over here is you can come over here and you can set up a threshold also, right? Like for example, this is the data frame that I have. Okay. Now in this, what I do is while dropping this data, if I say df dot drop na, and in this you can set thresh over here equals to 2. See, now it is going to delete only that row where you are having at least minimum of 2 null values. So it has not deleted this row now, right? So threshold is to define minimum NaN values.
Can you repeat that again, please?
See, so what we are doing is, see, by default, previously when I was running it, right? So when you run this df.drop_na, so it is deleting every row wherever you are getting that na value, right? It is deleting every row. But now what I'm doing is I'm setting a threshold that in that row there should be minimum 2 blank rows, 2 blank values. Then only that row should be deleted. So it will look out for at least 2. So now if you see over here, when you had only one missing value in that entire row, so that didn't got deleted. So this is like setting up that minimum value for that.
For a row. And if we want to do it for an axis, then we have to mention axis equal to
x equal to
or a
1.
column. Yes. Okay.
Then similarly, if you want that, like you do not want to drop that value, you want to, wherever you have some missing values, you want to fill that value with something. So we have a function that is fill na. Now what this fill na will do is, this is like replacing. This is going to replace the missing value. Like for example, if I say df dot fill na, right? So wherever there is a na value, I am saying value equal to 0. So see, wherever there is a missing value, now it is being replaced by 0 over here. Okay. Now the same thing we come up, the part that I was trying to now explain. So now in the column A, right? Like if I just show you this data frame that we have. Now, can you just print the column A where the missing value should be replaced with, the mean of it? So you have to print the column A where we have a missing value. The missing value should be replaced with the mean. Then anyone? Let's do it. See, first of all, if I say df, I want to see only column A. So I can type this. So I get the data of only column A, right? So just go step by step, right? So on this column A, what I want to do is, now I want to apply this fill NA function. So I will say dot fill NA. Now in this column only I want to apply the fill NA. So value equal to, what do I want to replace it with? I will say that for that column of A,
Dot
dot mean. Perfect. Right. So now you see the value has been replaced with 1.5.
I was trying to do it like this, but it was not the right order in chat. Let's try this way.
No. Okay. So basically, you were, so this was not correct basically. So one is A, it won't be able to understand what is A. So you need to have that DF. Then, and also in this case, what it is going to do is, we have one. So see, when you use NP function, you have to just give that function inside it. So, right. So numpy library mean, when you use, you have to give a column name inside the mean function. And when you use function, so you just use it outside like that also. No, sorry, I'm saying the other way around. So I mean, just np.mean. When you use a normal function, then we give it inside. When we use numpy library, we just say dot mean. But in sorry, in your case, what would have happened is the function that you have shared is, and then there is, I just put it over here. This is going to actually first, if you say df.fill, and it is going to replace it in the entire data frame. That is where one thing is going to happen. But I wanted to replace only in column E, so I made sure that I just give that
In
column
that
name.
column only. The value I was trying to give it in that column, that the value should only change in DFA, but that's not the right order. The way you did is the right order.
And Rama, you also shared this query, and in your case, so yeah, you also have that similar problem. So the one that you have written, So we are saying in that entire data frame, now only A is not going to work because only A has no existence. We have DF as well, right? So if you now run, so A, sorry, this quotes are missing, right? So now you get everywhere 1.5. So I mean, wherever the value is missing, so for column, it took the average of column A and replaced it in the entire data frame. So I just wanted it for column A, so I have to give that for column A only I want the output to be represented to me. Okay, so now can you just try one more thing? Like now just try the same thing for column C. For C, replace the missing value with maximum value of that column. Replace it with the maximum value.
You don't have a missing value in C.
Huh?
You don't have a missing value.
Column B, sorry. And not in column B also. Now in column B also you will get only.
You have to, yeah.
So you can use the column A only. Right, sure. So basically, just that one function has to be changed. Instead of mean, we will be using max. Okay. So are we all clear on this up till here? I hope the things are clear to all of you. Then we will just pick up the data set also, bigger data set as well, on which we will try all these things. Just so we are right now getting that hang of it. So what is group by statement? Remember group by we studied.
It groups certain data based on a common condition, like a, yeah.
So we use it to find the summary of the data, I will say, right?
Like for example, there are 3 categories across the different values in the data. So we can group by using the categories. 3 categories, it will group and give the data.
Right. So you have categories of sales and profit. So you want to see for category what is the total sales or average sales or whatever you want to see, you can do that. Right. So that is where we use a group by statement, right? Group by is something we use to find the summary. So now let's try to do it and let's try to see how we will use the group by statement. So what I will do is let's make a small data over here, right? So the data that we're going to now make over here is let's make a data frame as let's take some company name, right? Let's take the information of companies. Okay. Oh, I hope you're not hearing some snoring voices, right? Are you getting some?
No, thankfully no.
Actually, it's morning over here. So people in the house are sleeping. So I get a lot of these voices. So we have, like, suppose let's take a small example. I have some companies, Google, right? We have, I'm just trying to make a small data set over here. So this is Google. Let's take Facebook, FB.
You have to put a apostrophe after, yeah.
Right, so this is one dictionary, FB, and let's take one more company, Microsoft. So then we have as company
Comma
name.
instead of dot. MSFT, comma MSFT.
Then we can make person P1. This is like the information of the employee, right? The employees in that company. P1, P2, P3, P4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. P5, P6. And we can make sales. Okay. So this is a data set. So what we'll do is we will just convert it into a data frame. Let's make it a data frame. Data frame equal to pd dot data frame data. So let's have a look at it, how this data frame looks like. Are you able to make it? This data frame. Okay. See, now what we do is we have a group by command itself available in the pandas. So if I say df dot group by, right? So there's a group by command. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, suppose I want to group this data by company. Okay, so what happens in that case is you will notice now this is going to create a data frame which will be grouped by the company, right? So right now it is not saved over here. Right now what is happening is it's just showing you as an object, but you can save it into a new variable. So suppose I say by company, I am saying that let's save this inside a new variable. Okay, so what I've done is this is just a grouped data set that has been, so you can't see it, this is a group data frame that has been created. So grouping is something you will see, you have to use some the aggregate function in that case. So what we will do over here is I'm going to say now that by company I want to see dot me. If you will see now, it gives you the average of the sales, average sales of FB, average sales of Google, and average sales of Microsoft. right? Are you able to get it?
Amit, average was the average value, median is the middle value. What is the mean? I'm forgetting.
Mean is the average only. So we don't have average over here.
Okay.
Average is a function in the Excel.
Okay.
So we use mean by the same.
Okay.
Can you give me a count that how many people do we have from FB? How many people do we have from Google and Microsoft?
Not count.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can share that over here in the chat. So technically, this should be this only, right? You bring it over here, and now instead of this, we use count. So we get 2 people and 2 sales. So
Can
we are
we-
getting the sales for this.
Can we remove the sales column somehow and just get the number of people?
You can do it. See, what you do in that case is you will just have to mention that over here, the grouping part that you have done, you just mention the column name. That from here, what you want to do is you want to use the column name that is person, right? Dot count. So FB2, Google2, and Microsoft. So basically, see what happens is when you make this grouping. So what happens is now it is like, what Python has done is it has made a complete data set, and by default, see what happens is we do the aggregation. Aggregation is something like minimum, maximum. These calculations can happen only in the numerical columns. So what will happen is like if in your data you have multiple numerical columns, right? Like it will by default, if you will say mean, it will give you the mean of all the numerical variables, right? Like if suppose you had sales, you had profit, you had revenue, so it would have given you by default the mean of all the columns. But if in case you want to see the mean of only 1 or 2 columns, then what we do in that case is we just specify that column, that okay, we want to see that output for only that specific column, right? Like in this case, if you see, now count is something that we were able to do on that person over here. So we have just counted that each of the things. So it has given you the count on that. If you see on this over here, right? So it gives you the count of person also, that how many person are there, and the sales also. So there were 3 fields. Grouping is happening on company. So it gives you the count of person. It gives you the count of sales also. So count could happen on all the other columns. It gave both of them, but it couldn't find the mean on the person. So it gives the mean only on the sales. But if you want only respective columns, just make sure that you give the name of them.
For 2 columns, 2 or more columns, when we give the name, then you put after the by comp, you put a bracket, square bracket, and then do you put the columns in round bracket, one after the other with comma?
No, list as a list. The column name will go as a list. The square brackets.
For example, if you write next to BICOM the square bracket, can you show?
Like if you see over here, so like this data set is small. Let's do one thing. We can just import the data set of the.
No, we can find the value with both person and sales only. No, we can just write it down, person and sales. It will anyways show both the columns then.
That also makes sense.
Yeah.
So by company,
right,
and
square bracket.
No, once again. So we have to use person and sales, right? So we will say over here that I want to over here bring the data of the person, comma, we have sales, right? Dot count. We are trying to fetch the count over here.
So that's what I was saying. Person and sales, you need to keep in round bracket, in one round bracket. Do we need to do that? No, inside the square bracket. Yeah. And a square bracket now.
It's over here in the round square bracket.
Yes.
Right, like this. Yeah. So this is the same thing. I mean, basically what we are doing is we're just giving that two. So what happened is if you give it this way, it is taking it as a form of a tuple right now. Right? So it takes it in the form of a tuple, the input that it takes. I mean, the output you will get it. So it is just taking in the form of a tuple right now. So what you can do over here is, rather what you do is, you just give it like this, the square brackets only. Okay, so just make that, give it as a list as an input.
Okay, thanks.
And same way, if you want to do the grouping, right? Like for example, what we did over here was we had done the grouping only at one level. That was company. Same way, suppose you want the grouping to happen at two levels, right? So again, this will also go as a list only. That in the round brackets, you give two levels, that company and gender you want the grouping to happen on. So you can define those two things as a list. So mostly, whenever, if you remember, right, like whenever we are giving the rows or the columns in the vectors that we are using, we always give that as a list only as an input, not as a tuple or as a dictionary.
I don't know. I think I somewhere probably we gave it a round bracket, like inside a square bracket, and then the columns probably we're giving in a round bracket. That's what I was thinking, if how we need to enter if multiple columns have to be there.
Round brackets you will never see anywhere. It's mostly the
square only.
Square brackets only that we use.
Okay.
Others, everyone, I hope you are able to do it. I don't. I see someone as I don't have Christmas tree. Who's that? I see the name is coming a little. Because I used to take these sessions like when this pandemic started. So at most of the college and universities, what used to happen was, all the classes moved to the online platform. So at that point in time, many of the students, they used to join by very fancy names. People used to join by the name of Donald Trump, Narendra Modi, and likewise they used to pick any celebrity and they used to put.
Oh my gosh. Seriously.
There were a lot of this. We had to give them these instructions that please join it by the. And this was something because I take these sessions at the universities, so these students used to do it. So now for them, this online sessions were like a fun time. So what they used to do was they used to unmute themselves and they would play some songs. Sometimes they would play some funny voices, and most of the times the name used to always be an issue. They used to keep the names like this, and then we had to give them the instruction that if anyone who joins with that name, they will be removed from the meeting. And then they started making sure that they join with the same name, the correct name. So it used to happen a lot in the starting. It was like in the starting of that work from home, it was a fun part, but then when the people got used to it, now it's like normal stuff.
We still have I don't have Christmas tree. Who don't know who that is? I don't have Christmas tree.
Yeah, that is why I was asking. That just reminded me of that. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'll just take it ahead. Wait, sorry. Right. So now this group by, right? So group by, I hope it is making sense to all of you. Like what we just have to use that min function or the max function, right? All those functions that we learned in the SQL, you can use all of them, right? Min, max, count, mean. You want to find the median, so you have the median function. You want to find the standard deviation, you have the std function. So you can all these functions, you can use all these functions. Now what happens is, like when you are working on a group by part, there is one function that you have. That function is called as describe. So what happens with describe is it gives you all the statistics, right? Like for example, if you say by company dot describe, right? So it gives you all this information over here, right? So you can see now that it gives you that for FB, what is the sales count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, what is the you have this minimum, this first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile. So it gives you that descriptive summary for the numeric variables. Right? Suppose if I ask that I only want to see this summary of one of the companies, suppose I say I want to see it only for FB. So how can I do it? I will simply say by com dot describe. Okay, so I will just say that I want to see it for the company that is FB. Describe this also. So, this is only the rules. Okay. Okay, the transpose was required. I was giving that it is taking that as a column name. So transpose is not just for the Facebook, the Facebook. We can see what is the mean, standard deviation, and all that information.
So the transpose, you inverted the data to make
It just so just like this data that I was getting.
yeah,
So if
inverted it.
rows to column, columns to rows.
Okay.
So now I see that I want just this column and
So, but there should be a way to give row data also, like just for Facebook.
sorry.
I'm saying there should be a way to just give it for the row.
So for rows, what we'll have to do is we'll have to use that location number. So remember, so we can't do it by that. So what we'll have to do is, if I use over here, if I don't transpose it, so we'll have to come over here and we'll have to use dot I location 0, right? So I location. So for column number, we can straight away give that.
Yeah.
And for that row number, we use I location, right? The index location, row and column that we can give.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you'll have to transpose it again and then it will be for Facebook. Yeah. Okay.
Now what we will do is we will just see how we can use any question up till here, anyone, before I just move ahead. And you know what, if you want, we can just load the data and we can do some grouping practice as well on that the banking customer data that we were using. So we can try some questions on that, right? So we can do that before I move, because after this I'll be showing you how do we union the data and how do we join the data in the Python, right? The joins that we started in the SQL, inner, left, right, all those joins are available in the Python as well in the pandas this library. So we'll talk on that. So maybe what I can do is we can do that first, and then we can do the all the grouping questions and the joins and these questions together, right? So we'll understand this. So let's cover this back. So what I'll do now is let's talk about how do we merge, join, and concatenate the data. Okay, this is what we will try now. So for that, let's make some data frames. Let's make a data frame 1. So dot make it as so let's give the name like this only. A1, A2, A3, and A4. So I'm just making quick data frames.
PD dot data frame.
Sorry.
PD dot data frame.
So just
Curly bracket before it. Curly bracket before it.
so this is data frame 1, and same way let's make one another data frame 2. Just let's change the values A5 A6, A7, so just make these two data frames. So I'll share this. So now what you have to do is if you have to concatenate it, right? So basically what does concatenate does is it is just going to, glue the data sets together, right? It is just going to bring all the data sets one below the another. That is what this concat does, right? Like for example, if I use that function concat, so pd dot concat, okay, it's like union clause, right? So what we do over here is in this, what I want to do is I want to combine data frame 1 comma data frame 2. So if you see now, you have got this as the data set 1, a data frame 1. Below that, you have the data of data frame 2. Just simple as that, right? Like a union clause, one below the another. You just have to make sure that the number of columns should be same between them, right? The number of columns should be same. So you can concatenate the data frame row wise and column wise both, right? So right now it has happened row wise. All the rows have come below this another data frame. But if you want to combine it column wise, so you will see pd dot concat. Okay, and the same thing will come over here. That is df1 and df2, right? You will put df1 comma df2. Now if you put x is equal to 1, now you see the output is coming column wise. They are combined in the form of columns now.
Can we concat two columns to make a third column?
Yes. You want to add a new column.
Yeah, and that the value should be A5, B5, like the last two columns, but they should come together, A5, B5, A6, B6, like that.
Okay, you want to combine these values together, right? So
yeah.
So that we can do it. So we'll just have to add that new column that we want to add. You just have to use that properties. So then say plus. So when you have the data as categorical, when you say plus sign between them, it combines them together. It will make it A7B5.
We don't have to use concat there. You can just.
So this concat will be used to combine the data frames.
And while concating, can we change the column name?
Not by concatenation, but after that you can change it. If you want to rename it, you can do that. So by default, it picks the same column names. Okay, by default, it is going to pick up the same column names. But yes, later on, you can change the column names if you want. Okay, so this is concatenation. where we have just combined the two data sets together now. Now, similarly, we will talk about joins, right? How do we join the data sets? So for joining, what we will do is we'll have to again make two different data sets. So let's make that up quickly. Let me make a left data frame so that we understand it by the left and right table. So pd dot data frame, the dictionary script.
It's comma after Harry.
Bracket.
So same way I can make another data set. Let's call it as right. Key column, I will keep it as the same, just change 1 to 5. And in this, we will keep age. Okay. Now, if you have to just join the two data sets, right? So for that, what we have is we use the merge command, right? We use the merge command. So what we do is we simply say pd dot merge. You will give the name of the two data sets. One is left, comma, right, comma. Then you define the join, that how do you want to join it. If you want to make an inner join, you will say inner, right? And then you have to define the common column. On the column is key, right? So you see now it gives you one name is Harry and age is 25. So you can see the complete information is brought up over here.
Okay, on is for the primary key or
On is like in that SQL query we used to write select
primary.
star from table 1, inner join table 2 on. That what are the common columns.
Okay. I mean, it's not giving me any output. It's just giving the column names, key name, age. It's more
Can you share your screen?
sure. So if I run this again, it's just giving me this, and tables, they're fine.
Left, okay. Can you see the right?
Fine. Right is also fine. Key and age.
No. Your keys are not matching now. So you are using 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4, 5, 6, 8. So we are making an inner join, so IDs are not same. So just change it to 1, 2, and yeah. Okay. Okay. So now you sometimes what can happen is you might not have the column names to be as the same, right? Like for example, let me show you screen. So in this case, what happened was that my column names were same. So it was just I just wrote in my code that on column key that this is a column common column. But suppose in one of the in another data set the data name is different, right? Suppose it is ID, right? So now it is ID. Now how will I merge, because I have to specify which are the two common columns. So in that case, what we do is we will have to explicitly write that left on in the left table, the key that we have to use for combining is that is the column key, right? Then you put a comma, and then you will have to write right on that what is the on the right side, that is ID. Okay, if the column names are different, so this is how you will do it in that case. If your column names are different, so you have to mention that what is the column in the left table and what is the column in the right table, on the basis of which that join has to be created. So you'll have to use this part over there. I hope I'm clear to all of you. Left on and right on. So now joins, I think it doesn't need much explanation, right? Because it's something the same concept that we have done. So the same logic is applied over here for doing all the things.
So in this merge, it is going to give us both the columns, ID as well as age.
Now I this both.
Sorry, ID as well as key.
Key also, both of them. But when when we had only same columns, it was able to just replace that duplicate one, just give it as one. Right? Because now over here, when you get two column names, now this is where you need it. Because then now the join also, because if you want to apply some conditions and not, so now in that case, it can happen that the ID or key, whatever you would like to use, based on that you want to apply some where condition type of stuff, you will be able to do it.
Can we have a condition like, for example, in the second table, if ID is missing for one of them, and we need the age. So can we apply a condition that write on equal to ID, but if it is null or zero, then check for the name.
For joining?
No, we can't, because name is not there in the right table. Okay. Okay.
But the join rule, do not apply the condition like this, that if it doesn't find this, then patch it on that. You will actually have to write in two different queries in that case and then apply a union on that.
Okay.
Right. So this is basically how we work with the joins over here now. Now what we will do is we will just talk about some some operations that you can use. Although we have discussed quite a few of them, right? Like you have some data set with you, you want to find the unique data or something like that. So you have some functions that you can use right away in uh, the pandas data frame. So some basic operations, right? So today what I'm doing is I'm just giving you the idea on this. So what we'll do is tomorrow we will just spend some time on all the activities to just see these things. So where we will use the bigger chunk of data set in order to fetch the data. Okay. So now we will just see some basic operations that you can do with the help of pandas now, right? So let's make a small data set over here. Let's make a data frame. Data frame equals to p dot data frame. Let's see some data like this. You will find that coding of R is also something like similar. Not very much, I mean, on the similar lines, just some different terminology data frame you will be building over there also. Likewise, you will find a lot of similarities in them. Now, what did we miss? Oh, is a data set, is a data frame that I just created, right? Suppose if you want to pull the unique values, right? If you, I'll just share this chart. Remember in the SQL we learned a distinct clause. So similarly, we have a unique clause in pandas, right? So we can use a unique clause over here. So how do we use unique clauses? Suppose you have this data frame and in the column 2, you want to find the unique data. So you can say unique, right? So these are two unique values that you have in that, right? You want to find the number of unique values, right? So the same thing, column 2, and you can say uh, dot n unique. This is going to give you the number of unique values. Okay, then there are two unique values that you have. 444. So previous unique gives you the unique value. This gives you the count of unique values. Okay. You want to see the value counts, right? So you also have functions for that. You can see df, and on this data frame, you can just come in this column 2. You can say dot value counts. It gives you that this value 444 is coming 3 times, 555 is coming 1 time, Okay. You have some functions that you can use. One function that you can use is that is delete. So if you say delete from the data frame, you want to delete the column, this column 2 or column 3. So what will now happen is it has just removed that column. So if you will check, that column is deleted. You want to sort your data frame. You want to sort the data frame. Now this is that is used a lot again, right? So what we do is whatever data frame that you have, you will simply use sort values, right? So you want to sort the data by whatever values you want. You give the name of the column by equal to, suppose you want to sort it by column 2, right? So you give that name of that column that you want the data to be sorted by column 2, and then over here you can write if you want the data to be if you want the data to be sorted in the ascending order, you will say ascending equals to true. If you want descending, you will say ascending equal to false. Wrong. This S sort of SDF dot. Right, so now the sorting is happening basis the column 2.
Amit, for deleting the,
Hello.
so we don't need to give in place in this.
In place, so if you want to make it permanent, you will have to do it. So like if you right now again if you put over here, so it comes in that same. So you will have to use in place if you want it permanent. So that is something that will be there in all the functions. If you say in place, this equals to this true, then it happens.
No, we have 3 columns earlier, so we deleted third, but still after when we give df, we get only column 1.
In the delete, you don't need anything, so it deletes permanently.
Okay. Only for drop we need in place.
Right.
Okay.
Amit, if we need to sort through more than one columns, then
just the column names will come in the form of a list.
okay. Again in square bracket.
Square brackets, yeah.
Okay. And for deleting row, we need to use drop. What was it for deleting a row?
Sorry?
How do we delete a row? Was it drop?
So if you have to drop a row, so for that, we use the conditions. So what you do is you will basically say that drop. What we do is we use the location part, that we only want to keep the data from this row to this row. And then what we do is we update it into the same variable name.
Okay, we've done it, I think, previously. Okay.
So basically what we do is, like if I say this is the data frame and I want the rows from 1 to 5, right, and all the columns. So what we do is we simply update it over here, that df equal to this. We'll not have this. See, I won't be having these many rows right now. So
0 to, won't we do 0 to?
I mean, we can put any number, like if I say 1 to 2.
Okay.
We have this now. We have one also. Oh, df. I know.
So if you click df now.
So now if you will see in this data frame, we have only left with this.
0, that is the first row. But what about The third row. Third row should have come, right?
We have comma, extra comma, I guess.
Huh?
We have comma. I'm getting only third row. I didn't put the comma after 2. So I'm getting only the third row.
You're getting only the third row.
Yeah.
No. See, basically what we do is first put the rows, and after the comma we put define the columns, right? So that which columns do I want, right? Like for example, if I just make this data frame again, okay, so if I say df dot ilog, right? So if I say 1 comma 1, that's what it gives me one single value, that row 1 column 1. Okay, so if I now say this, right? So now I am saying all the rows column 1. So I get only the values of column 1. Now what I do over here is this, so it gives you the complete data, right? So now what I do over here is I want to delete, suppose up till,
Suppose I only want to delete the first row. Like
you want to delete the first row, so you will
only the
just say
first row.
0, right? You just want to delete this index number of this. So if you see now over here, I'm left with, it shows me the value of the rows
The first row. And all the columns.
and all the columns, right? First row and all the columns. So now what I will do is, you want to delete the first row, right?
Right.
So I will start from the 1 up till the last. That this is what I want to keep now. Okay, so I'll just update it into the DF. Like
But
this.
this is one of this is the first row. But now if I suppose want to delete one of the middle row, like
You want to delete?
the middle row, the second row.
Basically what happened is, like, you have to understand it. So when we work with the data frames, right? So let me just open one of the data sets over like this only. So whenever, this is how the data set that we get. Generally what we do is we do not remove the rows by giving the numbers. We delete the rows based on a condition that, I want to delete those rows where the balance is more than 10,000. I want to delete those rows where the gender is male, or I want to delete those rows where the age is more than 30. Right? So we delete the rows based on a condition. We never delete the rows by the number, right? So that is where we use, for dropping the rows, we always use conditions. So you will say this and put the condition inside that. Making sense, Marika?
Yeah, condition could be just, we want to just remove that, suppose Gray Kimberly's row. So we can just give the name as
So you will say name equal to that.
Gray, last name equal to Kimberly.
Correct. You give the name. The first name is Kimberly and last name is Gray.
But the problem with that is that if there are more Gray Kimberlys, it will remove that also. So maybe we can give an ID.
And you will use employee ID. Yeah, so that is like the logic, right? So in that case, if you think that there are a lot of Kimberly Gray that you can have in your data, so you will use employee ID in that case. So where that employee ID is, you give that complete employee ID that this is the.
What will be the code for that?
Huh?
What should we write as a code to remove, suppose, using a condition?
So first of all, you tell me, how will you find the data of Kimberly Gray?
Using the employee ID.
So, no, how will you write a code of that?
Okay, so if we go to the data frame, let's say.
Let's just take this condition only, that you want to print the data for all that people where this column 1 is equal to 2.
Column 1 equal to 2. So then write df df and then square bracket, then column 1 in quotes inside the square bracket equal to, and then we can give 2.
Right? So now you have to use 2 equal to. So open down. So this is.
Should we keep it in round bracket? Axis equal to 1. Do we need to use double equal?
Double quotes where?
No, I'm saying we need to use double equal only, right? Column 1 double equal to 2.
We use double equal to 4. So basically what we are saying right now is so wrong. So right, so we get this. So what we do is
df column 1.
right. So now you get this data over here. And you want to see the data where the column is equal to 2.
Right, this is the row I want to grab.
Now you only want to keep this data. So what you will, if you don't want to keep this data, so you will say not equal to, right? So not equal to 2. So that will give you all the data where it is not equal to 2. So it will give you rest of the data in that 3 and 4. So now you can update it into the df equal to this. So now your df is updated. You have only 3 and 4 now.
Why did you put that df again outside?
Sorry?
Why did you put df outside the square bracket again?
This one?
Get it into a data frame format?
No, see, no, you are asking about this df, right? This
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So basically what happened is when you write df column 2 equals to 3. So now it gives you the output in the form of true and false. So wherever that ID is 3, it will give you true, otherwise false.
Column 2. Column 2.
Right, so now it gives you true and false. Okay, so that means in the row number 2, the value is 3. In this, it is false. Now it is giving true and false. Now I am saying I only want to keep the data where I am getting true. So I am saying in the data frame, right, I want to keep that data where I had the true values. Right, so that is this.
Okay. That is how we
apply the conditions.
Okay, apply the to remove or to drop a row.
Right, so if you want to apply more than one condition, so you can use ampersand and or also. You can use ampersand and this or.
Or straight line. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So let's do the things tomorrow from here. Okay, thanks all. Let's start tomorrow.